Welcome everyone to this new streaming after 1 week of a break, basically after that really good talk we had uh, with Alex and Oliver that you can see on the YouTube channel. If you missed that streaming, um, today we are back to the OSCP Plus preparation where we are gonna tackle a new machine based on Active Directory, a Windows machine called Escape. Actually, I think it's a really good machine. I'm gonna pass to share my screen. So as you can see here, I have open already and running Escape, as I said. It's a great machine. It's a medium difficulty Windows Active Directory machine that basically, as the description says, starts with a SMB share that guest authenticated user can download a sensitive PDF file. And inside that PDF file, there is like temporary credentials that are available for accessing MSSQL. Once we are inside, we are gonna be able to perform to force the user to authenticate to our responder and then crack the hash. Once we have that hash, password, we are gonna be able to log into the machine with WinRM. Once inside, we are gonna be able to, through further enumeration, to gather some credentials. Then we will notice that there is this user is part of the a special group that basically allows us to enumerate the templates on that machine and be able to exploit ASC1. Through that, we are going to be able to request certificates and then get access administrator and gain access to the machine as an administrator. So once already we know, right, how more or less it works and everything, I will try to guide you guys through this machine and what I would do or which kind of commands I would run and so on. So let's get started. So I have already prepared the VPN connection and everything. So we are gonna basically start with the classic nmap scan that you know that I really like to run. So we are gonna start running nmap to enumerate all the open ports for TCP protocol, and let's copy the IP and start running it. Okay, so as I said, based on the description, we know it's an Active Directory set and so on, but based on the TCP port that they are open and nmap is reporting open, we more or less know that it's based on Active Directory, right, or Windows machine. We don't know yet the description of the ports, but more or less we are gonna know it. Something that I really like also to do is to enumerate the UDP ports. I think it's very important because sometimes there is special services running on UDP port, and then we could exploit them, right? So to do that, we are gonna run again nmap, but in this case, we are gonna focus on UDP. I can just replace this. Let me know if you hear the music or not, and maybe if it's too loud or not. Okay, so we have the UDP and map protocol command running, and of course, guys, some coffee to survive the the evening. Very important. And actually, I have something cool to show you guys. I will change really quick this. I finally got my certified cyber defender from CCD. And actually, it's really cool. It's gives you some yeah, letter more or less, to yeah, basically. And the most important part why we do certification in cybersecurity is the gifts. You know, these guys basically they give you this coin. It's really heavy, actually, really good quality. And honestly, I was really happy of getting the coin. Actually, I got the silver coin, but there is a gold one that actually you win the coin if you got, I think it's more than 800 points on the exam. I got less. It's why I have the silver one. So yeah, as the mantra says, defend smarter and not harder. And once we said that, we can go back to the machine. So we got already the results for the TCP scan. We are gonna make it smaller. We are gonna go through it really quick. So there is the usual port open. We can quickly identify that there is a certi yeah, an authority that is able to create certifications more or less based on this common name, and we will know that the service in charge of generating the templates and services, and certificates is running an install there. So once there, we can see that the SMB port is open as well. So that could be a great indicator to know if maybe there is a shared folder. Of course, the LDAP port are open. We have more information. So this is very important. We are gonna, once we are doing the enumeration for an Active Directory set, we need and we should to add to our host file the domain name. So we are gonna do it here. Go down. And I will just do it like this. And then we are gonna get again the IP of this machine, put it here, SQL.htb, and then we will need the name of the DC. In this case, is DC SQL .htb. We can save it, close it, and also we have ready the UDP scan, as you can see here. Actually, it's I would say there is no indicator or indication that we should go through UDP to compromise this machine. So what would be next? Once we have our host file updated, there is a cool tool, okay, called enum for Linux. I will open a new tab on my Temux, and then we are gonna run it, because sometimes it's very important when we have maybe anonymous authentication enabled or guest, we are gonna be able to enumerate the Active Directory and retrieve good information that maybe will help us in the future and on the next steps. So again, we are gonna copy the IP. I will do this. Then we will have it in the buffer. We are gonna keep running this automated tool in the background while we do the manual enumeration. That's something I really like to do. And it's very important to keep in the background these automated tools that will help us to retrieve like information really quick, and then do the manual enumeration while those tools are running. So the next thing I really like to do on Active Directory sets is to try to enumerate this machine through RPC. So for that, we are gonna use RPC client. It's a tool usually pre-installed on Kali Linux, and then -u, -u, double quotes, and the double quotes is basically to specify anonymous authentication or guest authentication, and then the IP. Something that we should do is run, or the first command I like to run is enum dom users. This command basically enumerates all the users through RPC for the domain. So if we had access through RPC, we will be able to enumerate all the Active Directory users. In this case, we don't have access, so we can skip it and keep going to the next command that I really like to do. The next command would be SMB client. Okay, SMB client will help us to enumerate the shared folders or directories in this Active Directory. So for that, we are gonna use SMB client -l and then the IP, and then just hit enter, and basically we'll authenticate with guest and will enumerate all those shares that are available, or available for the guest. In this case, something pop-ups to our eye, and is the folder or the share called public. Most of the time, if we are doing a CTF, this is very important. If you are doing a pen test, you will face or find a lot of share folders, and maybe this is more open to another techniques like NTLM theft and so on, but I'm not gonna enter on that. But in this case, if you are doing a CTF or a hack the box machine or a proving grounds machine, the first thing you should do is go inside, okay? But nevertheless, I really like to use another tools like crackmapexec or netexec to enumerate further the machine. For this, we are gonna use netexec SMB. We are gonna specify the IP with ---- shares. With this, we are gonna enumerate on the same way, but with netexec the server, and we are gonna get more information like which system is running, which possible build is running, the name of the domain, the name of the host name, if SMB version 1 is running or not, and so on. So it's very important, or it's a cool tool that will give you a lot of information that is very valuable for the future or for the findings. Something that I really like as well is to run netexec. So the same command, but trying to authenticate myself as guests. So we are gonna specify guest without any password, right? And in this case, we are gonna be lucky because the guest user is enabled on this Active Directory set. By default, most of the time, this user is not enabled, so this command probably will give you some kind of error. But in this time, this is the intended way, so we are gonna keep an eye on public, right? So the next point would be, okay, we have the confirmation that the guest user is available and enabled. We see a public share folder, so the next thing would be, okay, let's check this share folder, right? So we are gonna use SMB client as well, but in this case, we are gonna specify the path for this shared folder. So we are gonna specify the IP and then the name of this share. Once inside, we hit enter. Once we are inside, what we are gonna do basically is just click there, and then we find this PDF, right? This PDF called SQL Server Procedures. Okay, so this is pretty interesting, right? I mean, if you find a PDF or middle of a pen test or something, you wanna take a look. So the next thing would be get this SQL file. Okay, I don't remember actually the command to get the file. I think it was get. Yeah, get. Should I escape this thingy? Maybe I should escape it. Okay, I think it's because of the spaces. So we are gonna escape this thing. I think it's like that. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't remember. I will take a quick look. It should be good. I don't know why. Okay, let's double quotes maybe. Yeah, it was double quotes. I'm just dumb. Or tired. Yeah, maybe both. Yeah, have the box machines, escape. So we have here the PDF. Let's take a look. I will try to keep it more or less visible for you guys. Okay, like this, I think it's quite okay. So let's read a little bit. Since last year, we have got quite few accidents with our SQL server. Looking at you, Ryan. Okay, we have one user. This is important. Every time you read a file and you see someone, that's a user. So next thing we are gonna do, as we do always, is create a user's file. This is very important. Ryan. Okay, we have Ryan. Let's go back. Tom, another user. Okay, use SQL management. Server name. Windows authentication. This is very important. This is a good hint. Good to go. Okay. Another user. Random. Random. And we have public user. Public user. And a new password. So we are going to create a file for the passwords. And in this case, guest user can't write. Okay. So I cleared already the nmap scan, so I will really quick run it again, but just for the port 1433, that is MSSQL, and run it to see if the server is hosting this service. And you can see that it says discovered open port, right? So there is a service running. And once we know this, we have a possible user, a possible password. What would be the next step? So there is password reutilization, there is WinRM running, probably. There is a lot of things. But based on the PDF information, the next movement would be try to connect to the SQL server with those credentials. How we are gonna do that? We are gonna use the well-known tools from Impacket. In this case, the one called MSSQL client. In this case, we are gonna specify the domain SQL public user and then the password. We specify a password at and then the IP of the machine, and then we hit enter. And hopefully we are gonna be able to access this machine. Remember that in Packet MSSQL client has predefined or pre-built some basic enumeration that will help us to enumerate this SQL server. It's very important that every time that you are doing a pen test or doing a CTF machine to enumerate some points. In this case, we can, of course, always check if you can run commands enabled XP CMD shell. We can try it, for example, right? So we don't have the rights to do it. We can enum the databases. There is nothing special in this case. We can enumerate links. This is a good one because we can create links and connect our databases with a second ones and create clusters and so on, right? So in this case, there is a link, but nothing special or something that is hitting my eye, I would say. We can enumerate impersonations. This is very important because sometimes you can find a user with more rights that you can impersonate with your non-privileged user. You can enumerate logins, for example, as well. We can see the system administrator that is connected and us, right? So there is a lot of things to do, and also something very important is we can run XP dir3 to enumerate the file system. So we can try it, for example. Why not? Nothing. So we are not able to see the file system, right? However, there is something that is pretty important. When all of these points of enumerations doesn't give you anything, the door is open to more attacks. We can perform NTLM relay. We can try to gather the NTLM bit version 2 hash from the service running SQL. And in this case, the intended path is the second option. So how we are gonna do that? The first thing we need to do is set up Responder. Responder is basically a really great service or tool that we can basically use in our pen test to capture any NTLM hash or clients or users that they are trying to authenticate in the network. We are gonna be able basically to capture those hashes. So I'm not sure if I have Responder installed. Yeah, I have it. We are gonna run Responder in our tunnel. So now it's running, and the most interesting part, it shows us that it's running some certain, it's running services, right? SQL Server, blah, 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 and so on. So an SMB, of course, and so on and so forth. So next thing, how we are gonna trigger the SQL service user to target our service. One of the abilities of using XP dir3 is that we can target shared folders. So we can theoretically target remote servers. And in this case, I don't know my IP, so I need to check it. So we are gonna XP tier 3, and then bam, bam, test. Hit. Maybe I need to get rid of simple quotes. Okay, didn't work. We can use another method that would be exec. This is another way of executing dir tree. Exec master.dbo xp dir tree. Okay, is this the IP 1010? Why are you not? Okay, I know why. So I started responder on the wrong interface. It should be tune 0 or yeah, tunnel 0. So we are gonna try the first one. It doesn't run it. Second one, there you go. So we got the hash of the service account. In this case, it's the one called SQL SBC. So what we are gonna do now is we can actually check our enum for Linux, but actually we are pretty far already from the initial enumeration, but it's worth it to check it. Yeah, so nothing really important. Maybe the SESID for the domain is pretty cool to have it, just in case for the future. But in this case, we are gonna clear this terminal. We are gonna change the Temux name, and we are gonna use hashcat. Why we are gonna use hashcat? Because basically we were able to retrieve the service account hash. So we are gonna need to copy this long string and go here, go as good practice, go to folder where you are saving the things, and then we are gonna call it hash as always. Close it, and then once we have this, we have the hash. The next movement would be crack the hash. So something that we should be doing is, I think I said this before, but I will repeat it. Something that happen a lot is we don't know which module or which mode of hashcat is the one correct to crack this hash, right? So if we check it again, we will see that there is kind of we have which kind of hash it is, right? So something that we can do is go to hashcat examples and look for our NTLM v2. And we have an example of hash, and this fits our case, right? 5,600. So that would be our mode. So we are gonna run hashcat with the mode targeting this, and then I think it's passwords leaked databases queue, and we leave it running, and hopefully it won't take that long. I hope. So we are already on the middle of this streaming. I hope, or the resolution of this machine, I hope you are enjoying and you are learning something. And actually, I think I should improve or use more the hardware I have in this machine or on my computer to crack the hashes and be able to crack them faster. So we got the password of the basically the service account, SQL SBC. And remember, every time we got a password and every time we got a user, we need to take note of those. So we are gonna do our users. Oh, no, it was SBC. It was SQL SBC. Yeah. Now passwords. Copy. And something I really like to do is use netexec to brute force, let's say, to do password spraying. That would be the technique name. We are gonna use WinRM. Basically, we are gonna test user. I think is first would be the IP. I don't remember exactly. Dash u users dash p passwords. Continue on success and hit enter. Okay, there you go. So that's why we should keep a registry of users that we have discovered and passwords. So now we know that SQL SVC with the password we found has access through WinRM. We found that. We can go back to our main table. We can use now evil WinRM as a, and here we are gonna specify SQL box minus sorry, yeah, my Spanish u SQL SPC dash p, yeah, here it is, enter. Okay, what I did wrong. Okay, let's hit with the IP. Way better. There you go. We got the initial foothold on our machine after 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I would say when you are trying to be accurate and discard the information, I think it's a pretty cool machine. So yeah. So we are gonna move further. I will try to keep this short, right? But I will try to explain what I would do without any idea of the path, right? Once we gain access to the machine, the next movement I would do on Active Directory set would be gather information from the Active Directory with Bloodhound or Sharphound or whatever thingy you are using to gather all the data from the AD. And then use Bloodhound to interpret all that to make an interpretation of all that information and try to find a path to the domain admin. In this machine, I spent a lot of time doing or trying to perform enumeration through Bloodhound, and I wasn't able basically to find nothing. But there is some things that you need to do manually, right? So something that I do always when I get inside a machine is who am I all on a CTF, because in a real scenario, for example, if there is a EDR running, CrowdStrike, Defender, and so on, if you run this command, probably it will be flagged really quick by the team behind and you will get it isolated. So you can, in a CTF, of course, use who am I all or who am I? Check who are you, net user. But this is really suspicious as well. So probably you will get really quick flagged. So there is a couple of users. We have James, we have Brian Cooper, we have random. So we should take note of those users, right? Something actually important is to see which groups we are part of, right? We can see the certificate service DCOM access. That's a really important one. And something that I would like to run is the who am I, the privilege of this account. In this case, there is no specific or special. Usually a service account has SE impersonation privilege that could be exploited by potato exploits. And then perform privilege escalation and become system, right? But in this case, it's not the case. So we are gonna be moving further with the manual enumeration, and something I like to do as well is check, for example, for the registry that says if MSI files is enabled and executed by system. In this case, it's not. It gives an error. We check autolog on credentials registry. There is nothing. PowerShell history as well. It's very important to check the PowerShell history. Sometimes we can find surprises there. Yeah, in this case, nothing, and so on and so on. After a while, you will realize that you cannot move laterally or escalate privilege because more or less everything is in place. Everything is okay, right? Running as a service. But something that we should do is think, right? Think which services are running, which applications are running, the software installed, and how we can basically get more information from those services running on the machine. So something we should do is basically go to the SQL logs. In this particular case, would be go to the in this case, I think it is SQL Server. I don't remember actually where it was. Okay, logs. There you go. So this is pretty interesting. It took me a while until I found this log file and so on. But one good indicator of that you should be checking that folder is when you do dir on C. Usually, this folder, it shouldn't be there. Usually, it's like in program files, SQL, blah 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 blah. And then it's pretty interesting. So you go inside, you see this error log .pack, and then you see a pretty interesting line. Logon failed for the user SQL blah, 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 Ryan Cooper. And then the next line, or the next failed login, it says for the user Nuclear Mosquito 3. And it's like, okay, something is going on. Something is wrong here. But I guess you had the case that you are typing your user or password, and by mistake you put your password on the user. It happened a lot, okay? Maybe as we are in security, maybe not that much, but it happened a lot, okay? And in this case, if we basically copy this user and we go to our brute force users, and then passwords, and we copy the password, we go again here, copy our password, and we perform again our netexec enumeration, we will see if that combination of credential is valid or if that password is used on another user. And there you go. So Ryan Cooper has that password. So the next thing we will do is basically get access, because we did all the enumeration. We did manual enumeration, we ran WinPS, and we couldn't find nothing. But this is basically a classical lateral movement. Okay, so we found some plain text credentials on a random file, in this case, the SQL logs files, and this would be the classical lateral movement. So we are going basically to pivot there, and we are gonna use eval winrm. It was this one, and then the IP. There you go. Bam! We got access, and then here we should have the user flag. So after 40 minutes more or less of streaming, we were able to get access and then pivot to the second user. So now what to do now? Now we need, or we should, to perform again the whole enumeration, the manual enumeration, and maybe run WinPeace. I know that when you spend a lot of time trying to enumerate this, the first user you didn't find nothing, it gets really annoying to start the whole enumeration from scratch, right? But it is what it is. So we got access to the second, and we need to perform a previous escalation in this case. So we are gonna make it this bigger and then start with the manual enumeration, right? So there is not really something that we can think of it, right? But you know, we found before that there is this certification authorities group, and something we can do is use a specific tool called Certify. It's a tool that allows us to enumerate the certification authority, and in this case it's running. We know it from the initial enumeration, right? So we can try to find if there is a vulnerable templates where the rights over those templates it's misconfigured and we have more rights than the necessary ones, and this will allow us to impersonate users from the domain. So we are gonna go here. We are gonna open a new Temux table, and we are going to put here certify enumeration. So we have our Temux table, and I don't know if yeah, I have it installed. Great. Yeah, most of the time I don't have the tools. I mean, honestly, I use my laptop usually, and well, most of the time I don't have the tools installed, and I need to be installing them, so it's kind of annoying, right? So, how we are gonna enumerate the templates? It's with certify -ad find username. We are gonna specify Cooper, right? And in this case, with the domain password TCP. Bam. Then I think it should be okay with that. And this will dump all the information from the certification authority, or at least it should be. We can see already some information in there. Yeah, I was saying wrong. It's certificate authority, not certification authority. So we have already saved on these files the output of the findings. So something we can do is basically go through it, right? We can go to the folder. We are gonna move this to here. And then we have it here. So we are gonna, oh my god, not, no. We are gonna open it with Beam or Nano, whatever editor you want to open with. Okay, and something we should do is shirts for the words for the word vulnerabilities. And there you go. We have a template that is vulnerable to AC1. Enrollee supplies subject and template allows client authentication. Okay, so I'm not gonna enter and how this template vulnerability works. Maybe I can. That's a pretty good idea. I think I will do another streaming focused on these vulnerabilities. I think would be great. And there is a bunch of vulnerabilities related to this. Why is not going? Yeah. So there is a bunch of vulnerabilities related to this. So we can see a bunch of information related to this template and also the template name, user authentication. So how we are gonna exploit this vulnerability? So basically, the next thing we want to do is exploit this misconfiguration where we have more rights or permission that we should. And how we can know that? We can know it here. So right property in role, domain admins, domain users, enterprise admins, and domain users. So that means since we are part of the users, we can be able basically to write properties and so on. Okay. Yeah. Wait a moment. Is it on here? Oh, yeah. So here's the flag. So yeah, basically is that. So the first thing we need to do would be request a new certificate impersonating the administrator. Why? We are able to do this because we have the right permissions over the template, right? So we are gonna use again certify AD request. We are gonna provide the credentials that we have. CA, and this part is very important. If you remember from the initial scan, we were able to retrieve or gather the certificate authority name. And in this case, it was SQL DC CA. And also, if not, I'm not wrong, we can retrieve the same information from the output of certify, if you see here. Okay. So don't think I got that from, I don't know, my imagination. So next thing, we specify the target IP, target IP, repeated DC, and then we specify the template name would be user authentication. The UPN would be the user we wanna administrator we wanna impersonate, and we are gonna put the argument debug to know what's going on. Maybe maybe I'm using a different version and and the debug mode is specified on a different mode. So it's requesting the certificate. Bam! There you go. We got the PFX file where the administrator data is, basically. So the next thing we are gonna do is to try to authenticate with this certificate to basically be able to retrieve the NTLM hash. Okay, so how we are gonna do that is same thing. We are gonna use certify and then we are gonna use the argument auth for authentication. We are gonna specify the argument pfx administrator domain sql.htp username administrator CIP 10 done, and I think should be enough. Requesting TET ticket. This is the time. Oh, this is a classic. This is a classic when we are working, doing a pen test or against or a CTF on a machine that is Active Directory set. We have the time thingy that doesn't allow us because the time with between our attacker machine and the Active Directory is not the same. So that makes this error. So we are gonna disable the synchronization of our time, and we are gonna synchronize our machine with the Active Directory we are targeting. So it would be, I don't have air date, so we are gonna install it. Okay, now. So now it's time to specify the IP. N. Now we are synchronized with the Active Directory server and we can now authenticate properly. Why you are not syncing? Something is going on with the time. Let's check the settings. Yeah, I have this in Spanish. I would need to let's really quick. It should be really quick. Let's try to find this error really quick. Debug it. These are the things we face when you are doing a live streaming. So it is what it is, but we are gonna find out. More coffee. Okay, let's try this and this. There you go. So we needed to set up our NTP service on false to don't synchronize and then synchronize again and then authenticate with administrator. And there you go, guys. We got the NTLM hash. So what next? we can dump the hashes or the whole Active Directory database with all the credentials and NTLMs. And also we can authenticate with WinRM to get access with administrator on the server. So we are gonna use pass the hash as technique to be able to get access to this administrator. So we are gonna use eval WinRM administrator dash -h and then specify the hash, enter, and we should be able to get inside. Nice. Pretty exciting when I got inside as administrator, honestly. We are gonna do like this, desktop, and there you go, root. So guys, this will be the end of this machine, not the end of the live streaming and so on. I hope you like this live streaming. I really enjoy doing Active Directory machines. So honestly, it's a really good thing to do, honestly. Basically because I'm refreshing knowledge, I'm going through the techniques and making myself more secure using the tools and understanding the concepts. So I'm that kind of person that thinks if I'm able to explain something, that means that I understand the process, right? I will keep a note of in my mind for the next streaming, maybe, because I wanna talk maybe about other things, and I think it's a good topic to talk about certificate authorities and the vulnerabilities that they carry on. So yeah, I hope guys you like this streaming. I know it's different. Maybe you can find the write-up in another way, other channels, and so on. So my idea of doing these live streamings are basically share my knowledge and the way that I do the things, because maybe that could help you and so on. Yeah, I hope you like it, and remember that I will be sharing these live streamings and the write up directly on my channel. So if you forgot, just go there, check it out, and remember that if you want to know something, just leave a comment or here in the chat and so on. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this live streaming and it comes to the end. See you guys in the next weekend. Well, not weekend, week. Bye bye.